Okay, now it's recording.
Okay.
Now I'm supposed to watch your videos?
Yeah, this is from last week when, remember, I didn't know the rest of the verse to Salt and Pepa?
Oh my god.
It has bothered me ever since.
Okay.
You're welcome to this.
Oh my god, it's 73 seconds.
I did the rest of the song. Don't click through it. Respect it. Hold up, Mr. Lover.
Howdy, folks. What?
Hey.
Did that sound natural?
No.
Hello, and how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm great. Every time we skip a week, I feel like I have to get myself back in the zone.
Okay, well, where have you been since I didn't see you recently?
Oh, that's right. I went to Hilton Head for a wedding, and it was really beautiful. Mm-hmm. But I missed your face.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that because you mean it, or you're just saying it?
I mean, can't it be both?
What are you drinking about this week?
I'm drinking because we determined before we started recording that Emily is the hot one of the group.
Of the two-man group. And we didn't decide this. You decided for me.
Well, okay, she's like, God, everyone loves me. Okay, she didn't say that's the filter that went into my head.
So basically in your head, I'm a princess.
She was like, what did you say?
I was like, why is everyone falling in love with me?
Okay. Oh, and then I misinterpreted it, apparently.
Okay. But I said it ironically.
Okay, she knows.
I've been getting so many messages from random people sliding into my DMs ever since.
Literally slide. Nobody has slid into my fucking DMs.
A man has reached out to my DMs and said he's interested.
I mean, that is like
to which I said, no thank ya.
We're sorry, sir.
I mean, it's not him, it's me.
That in that case, it really is. It's not you, it's me. I don't have any Twitter lovers, but the other thing, the creepiest thing is that Em told me she Googled our podcast, and if you click it, you can see like related searches that people have made, and one of them literally just says Christine Schieffer. Like, it doesn't have the podcast name; it just says Christine Schieffer, M. Schultz. And
people have just been looking up our names on Google
and like forever, together. And whoever you are, like, you don't need punctuation in Google first of all.
But I'm sure the grammar police are very pleased with your Google searches.
Totally. Good for you, but also stop, because it's freaking me out that people are just Googling our name.
It's okay, but here's the thing. People are Googling you with me. Okay. There's Christine Schieffer, M. Schultz, and then the other search is just M. Schultz. Like, why are people Googling me? It's freaking me out. And if you type in our podcast, like, the third Google image is just my face.
There's one of me as a baby.
That's my bad. I posted that on Twitter.
But it's so weird now that people are literally Googling our names. And also there's one... So M. Schultz is a search on her own, and then one is Christine Schieffer wine. Yeah. And I'm like,
we know what you're here for.
I cannot be disassociated, and I'm not gonna complain about it.
What did we talk about why you're drinking this week?
Yeah, I literally just spent 3 minutes telling you.
Oh, Jesus!
I'm like, where have you been? She's lost in her like princess realm.
No, I was like, I forgot that. Oh, what are you drinking? That was the question.
Like. My favorite new wine that's really cheap.
There's a giraffe on the top of it.
I know. I have this cool little giraffe bottle stopper.
Oh, it didn't come with the bottle.
No, it didn't come with the bottle.
That made it less cool.
It was a $4 bottle of wine. It did not come with a fancy.
And it's a cab. Interesting choice.
Emily, I will always bow down to you from now on.
You're welcome.
What are you drinking?
Aww.
Hey, it's got to have a natural pause.
It only took 11 episodes.
Okay, princess. I'm going to call you that forever.
Don't do that. I'm drinking my uncaped hero House of Pies milkshake again because once again I got stuck in traffic coming to you. Now that I'm living farther away from you, it seems to be like a 45-minute commute to get to your fucking apartment.
That's too far.
Well, today was different because I guess you said something's going on in town. You want to ask me why I'm drinking?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I drink for the same reason I think the entire world drinks right now. Well,
the bombs?
What?
Oh, I thought you meant the bomb on the bomb. No, I thought that's why everyone is drinking.
That really got dark. Okay, the reason I guess I personally drink outside of the bombs across the globe is because I began and finished watching 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It'll fuck you up.
People keep referencing it and I feel so out of the loop.
Just don't watch it.
Literally, This Is Us made me sob, so I don't think that this is going to be much better. I didn't watch This Is Us. Oh, you didn't? Oh, it's so good.
Well, I worked on it, so it's like... I could not.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I kind of like, dead stuff.
Princess? Well, you know what?
You make me sound like a LA douche. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you about my job.
This is me trying to, like, overcompensate because you're the popular one, so I'm trying to drag you down to my level.
Thank you. I appreciate being devalued.
You're welcome.
How's your wine?
Oh, it's much needed.
Well, I already texted you about this, but I'm, like, totally love-struck.
Oh, that's right.
By the main character.
Yeah, that is a reason to drink,
like,
for sure.
1,000%.
What's the actor's name?
Catherine Langford.
She's very beautiful.
I would do anything to meet her.
Oh my god, maybe she'll slide into your DMs.
Literally, I would stop breathing.
Oh, okay.
I would not know what to do. But, no, I found the girl in my dreams, and I found out I'm only 5 degrees of separation away from her. But there are 5 tricky ones.
And one of them is Justin Bieber, so good luck with that.
Yeah, that would be the hardest part, is getting Bieber to do something for me. But I really am just so in love with this girl. And it was very hard to watch her be so sad on this show. But It was a really good show. Like, when it comes to mental health awareness, it was by far the best thing I've seen on TV. And Selena Gomez was the executive producer.
That's right.
And she worked really hard. Like, you could tell, like, she thought it all out.
That's awesome.
She bought the rights, like,
Good 7
years ago or something, so she's had a long time to really think about what she wanted to do with it.
I love badass women who are, like, making good content.
Yeah. Anyway, that's why I drink, because I can't be with the girl I love.
That is you made that darker than the bomb story. Oh, okay. Maybe that wasn't a funny joke, because the world might end this weekend for real.
Like, for real, World War III is happening.
At least our podcast comes out Sunday. Oh, happy Easter, by the way. This comes out on Easter.
Okay, are you ready to get into your facts? Because you just could not shut up about this.
What? Okay.
Okay, let's start with the wine one so you take a breath.
Okay.
You'll be really into it.
Okay.
And I have a picture to show you afterwards. In Japan, there is a spa that allows people to swim in a wine pool.
What?
With regular refills occurring throughout the day from a 4-meter tall wine bottle at the poolside.
Wait, like you're in the wine, right?
Like here's a picture of people literally swimming in wine, and also
holy shit! No, holy shit! They're literally just like chilling.
It's literally like the pool is purple because
there's a small child in there. Does that not soak into like your skin or something?
What if he drowns in wine? Does he get drunk or?
Oh my god!
Well,
okay, because they have that shampoo that has caffeine in it to like wake you up because it goes into your
your system
and stuff.
Oh shit!
So I feel like it would get.
Yeah, do you just get drunk by swimming in it?
Oh my god! Do you know how cool that would be? Holy shit!
Christine's dreams are real.
No calories.
Imagine if you dove into it with your mouth open, so as you swam, you also drank it, and it just went through every pore of your body,
every orifice, all the gross words that you can think of.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's your wine.
That's
fact.
awesome.
Do something with it.
I love it.
Pick a state. Let's do Ohio because that's where you're from, and you're really struggling.
I'm not good at the states. That makes me sound really stupid.
Oh, wow. Okay, Ohio. Basically, this is a list of the best milkshake in every state.
Oh.
So, Ohio.
Is it a Grader's?
No.
Oh.
It's from United Dairy Farmers. Shit, you gave me off. You scared the shit out of me.
Sorry, I was about to say there's no way it's UDF.
In Ohio, the classic strawberry shake is the best milkshake in Ohio.
Well, that makes me happy because UDF gets such a bad rap because Grader's is like the fancy, expensive store, and UDF's kind of like the convenience store, but it's better. I like it better. Well, also one time I hit a security van in a UDF parking lot, and then the guy in the UDF, the guy who worked there, told me to like back up and leave, and he wouldn't tell anybody.
Oh, nice.
But I had the flu, and also I was wearing my homecoming dress because the zipper broke, and I had to go to the SATs. And I had the flu, and my mom was out of town, so she couldn't cut me out of it. So I just put sweatpants on over my homecoming dress, and then drove to UDF, hit a car, then drove to the SATs.
Oh, no.
It was a really bad day.
Oh, that's really bad. I'm sorry.
But I love UDF. Don't tell my mom I hit a car.
Oy.
I was so out. I had like 104-degree fever. Oh, and on the way to the SATs, I saw this guy I liked in his car. So I followed him around because I thought he was going to the SATs, but he wasn't. So then I missed the SATs because I followed him around town. That's the day I missed the SATs, and I told my mom that I was too sick to go. But in reality, I was driving around town in a homecoming dress on a Sunday morning.
Okay. The end. There's your facts.
Yay. I like it.
Okay.
So are you going to tell me a ghost story today?
I am.
Yay.
But basically, I think this is going to be your favorite story I've ever told.
What? I'm so excited.
Gio, get the fuck ready.
Uh-oh.
Because it is a haunted wine cabinet.
What?
And it's one of the top 10 most haunted items in history.
Oh my God.
I know.
Listen, my birthday is in like 3 months. Get on it.
3 months?
My birthday's in like 2 months. Get on it.
Like a month and a half.
My birthday's in a month and a half. Get on it.
Oh my word. Okay. Anyway, let's see how you handle this.
Probably not well.
Also, oh, this isn't even the right fucking story. Okay, now we're here.
We took quite a journey to get there.
Okay, well, I started one story and then it ended up not being that great, so I
do that sometimes.
I had to change it up. Okay, here's the trick. Half of my story is on the computer and half of it is on my notebook. So let's.
I like to call it a multimedia presentation on the radio.
Right back into 4th grade.
Yes.
Okay.
Where's your PowerPoint?
I don't have one of those.
Okay.
But I will show you pictures of this thing because it looks a little fucked up.
I'm so excited.
Okay, I'm probably going to butcher it, and that sucks because I'm going to say the word a lot. So
what word?
It's Hebrew.
Oh, I was like, I'll help you. Nope, can't
No,
do
you
it.
won't.
I can't.
It's called the Dybbuk Box.
That sounds right.
It's Dibbuk. Dybbuk. We're going to call it Dybbuk, and I'm
we
going to
always
butcher
do that
it.
where we just say the word over and over in different ways, and it doesn't get us
Someone can correct me later. Okay, so the Dybbuk Box is a wine cabinet brought to the U.S. by a Polish Holocaust survivor named Havela. And the story starts where this guy named Kevin Manis, he goes to an estate sale in 2002-ish, and he sees this granddaughter of a woman who's passed away. She died at like 103. Oh, wow. And so now that she died, her granddaughter was holding an estate sale with all of her stuff.
I love estate sales. So much creepy old stuff.
Exactly. So the granddaughter of the woman tells Kevin, I'm just going to go with Kevin. Because I was going to go with the last name, it's a journalist thing, but his name's Kevin. Yeah. We know him well enough at this point, I think.
Kevin's a good
Classic pal. Kevin.
Classic fucking Kevin.
Typical Kevin.
Oh, God.
Okay, so he goes to the estate sale and sees this cabinet, this with wine holders.
Yeah.
Are they holsters?
Wine holsters.
And he asks around and he finds this woman who's the granddaughter and says that her grandmother had been born in Poland where she grew up, married, she married, she raised a family, and that was basically her life until she got sent to the Nazi camps. She was the only member who survived, but she survived by escaping with other prisoners and somehow making her way to Spain.
Oh.
So good for her.
Yeah, seriously.
And once she was in Spain, that's where she found the wine cabinet. Oh. And that was kind of only the original story that he got out of it. He just heard it's from a Holocaust survivor. She got it from Spain. That's it.
Which is already a cool story.
Yeah. And he started asking some questions about it, and he tried to open it up, and the granddaughter was like, don't open it.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And so he was like, oh, is it why not? And she was just like, don't open it.
There's spiders in it. That's what I would have assumed.
Well, more than
there's worse things. Okay.
And just think of the drunk Pandora's box.
Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. That seems like a big mess and a half.
And she started getting really weird. And so he thought maybe she was afraid to let it go because it was a keepsake. And so he was like, oh no, I don't have to take this. And she started getting really rude and insisting that he took it. And I was like, no, just don't open it. She swore that we could not open it. Don't open it.
Oh my God.
But she started getting really defensive and was like, you bought it, you take it. Like, you can't give it back now. Like, was trying to push it on him to get it out of her house. She was like, you made the deal, you can't return it. So Kevin, I guess, typical Kevin.
I was going to say, let me guess what Kevin did next.
Let me tell you what Kevin did again. He owns a company that finishes old furniture. And so he was like, oh, well, I'll take this and I'll fix it up and then give it to my mom for her birthday.
Cool.
And so he left it in his office one day. He brought it, I guess, to the warehouse and then decided to go on errands. And a half an hour later, his salesperson calls him and is like, someone is in the fucking house. Like, someone's here. And he was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I can't see anyone, but someone just broke a bunch of lights downstairs and I hear cussing and the doors won't open.
Ugh.
And they weren't like electronic doors or anything. Like, they just could not open all of a sudden. So she was locked in this building and lights were shattering.
What the fuck?
Like, right off the bat, this is a cool story.
What on earth?
So he speeds back to the office, tries to tell her to call the cops,
Sure.
but as he's trying to say it, both of their phones die at the same time.
Oh, yeah, casual.
Typical. So he gets to the office and literally tries to go and talk to the salesperson, but as soon as the salesperson saw that he was there, literally hightailed it out of there and never came back.
Oh,
Don't blame her.
Oh, she literally quit.
She literally was like, bye, and just never came back.
But see, she's the first one we've heard who actually, like,
she
does
knew
the smart thing.
She's welcome on the podcast.
Good job, lady.
And so he's looking around, and there's only one entrance that wasn't locked. So there's only one entrance that, in theory, if someone was there, would have left through, and they would have met him there. Because by the time he got to the office, he could still hear stuff shattering in the building. So he knew if something was there, it was still there, and it would have had to have passed him when he came into the office.
Right.
So he's looking around, there's no one there, and all of the lights in the entire building are shattered. Like, the bulbs had burst. And I think it said, all 9 incandescent bulbs had been broken in their sockets, and 10 4-foot fluorescent tubes were lying shattered on the floor.
Holy shit.
And then, there was only one entrance, and the salesperson never came back.
Oh my God.
So that was event number 1. And then he didn't, like, assume that the cabinet was at fault for that. It just happened while the cabinet got there on day 1. Then he decides to try to fix it up for his mom. And when he's working on it, he actually finds, like, this, like, little hidden drawer in it. And in the drawer, he found these items in this order.
Uh-oh.
No. I don't know.
There's something just spooky about a hidden drawer.
Like, he found it, like, I guess the way that it was described was the door had this, like, mechanism that if you opened one door, it opened up a secret other door on the other side of the drawer.
Oh,
like a puzzle box. So he found a U.S. wheat penny from 1929.
Oh my God.
A U.S. wheat penny from 1925, a lock of blonde hair bound with string,
Aww.
a lock of black and brown hair bound with string, one small statue engraved with Hebrew letters, which he doesn't know what they are, but he's shown it to other people, and they've told him it says shalom, so peace. Shalom in the home. One dried rose. One golden wine cup. Hey, Christine.
Hey.
One very strange black cast iron candlestick holder with octopus legs.
That's cool, though. I would buy that. Wait, what? How big is this drawer? I thought it was like a little drawer.
Probably like a 1.5 feet tall.
Sure, okay. I see.
Okay, so there was the inscription in Hebrew. He doesn't know if it's significant. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so this is the thing I haven't told you yet that I probably should have said in the beginning.
Uh-oh.
The reason I have parts of his transcript is because most of this story was documented through an eBay request.
What?
So he tried to sell this thing on eBay, and this was his story about it, and he basically at the end writes, fucking help me, like, get this thing out of my house. Like, no charge, just get it out of my house. You'll see.
What the fuck?
So the reason I have transcripts is because this is his direct message that was on eBay.
That's creepy.
Because I was reading through my notes and I saw a quote that says, I have included a picture, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, ooh. Okay.
Okay, Kevin.
So anyway, after he found all that, he decided to put it all aside, and he gave the fixed up box cabinet to his mom for her birthday. And she came in and she saw it, and literally 5 seconds later, he turns around and she passes out and has a stroke.
What?
Yeah.
She had a stroke?
She had a stroke that what was the actual word? She had a stroke that ended where she ended up having partial paralysis and losing her ability to speak and form words.
Oh my God.
But she could point to letters on the alphabet and spell out what she wanted to say.
Oh, that's so sad.
Eventually her speech came back. But in the time that she couldn't talk, she was pointing to letters to spell shit out. When she came to, the first thing she spelled out was no gift. And he then asked what she was talking about, and she got really upset. Like she was trying to say something, but she couldn't. She sounded like she was screaming, and she spelled out hate gift.
Oh my God, ew. It's so creepy.
Like, you just have a fucking stroke and that's what you're gonna write? Okay. So then he ends up taking the cabinet away. He's like, okay, she doesn't like it. Gave it to his sister.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Within 2 days, she gave it back. And she was like, something's wrong with it. I don't like it. Like,
what?
She said it gives a bad, like, feng shui vibe or something. So he gave it to his brother.
He's like, someone has to take
someone get rid of this thing. Gave it to his brother, who kept it for 3 days and then gave it back. Because he said that when he would walk into a room, it smelled like jasmine, like really like overwhelming flowers, but his wife would smell cat urine, which was another thing that happened when the office got broken into and he ran into his room to see all the lights broken. He got this overwhelming pungent smell of cat urine.
I wonder why the other guy smelled jasmine.
I don't know. I think it's just to fuck
weird.
with you. But so, he then, because he's that kind of gent, gave it to his girlfriend.
Listen, maybe he's trying to break up with her.
Who, after only 2 days, said, sell this fucking thing. Quote,
Kevin,
sell this fucking thing.
Kevin just can't figure this out.
Classic Kevin.
God damn it.
He then sold it in the same day to a middle-aged couple, and 3 days later, they showed up at his front porch and left the cabinet there with a sign that said, "This has bad darkness."
Oh no. Oh no.
So ever since then, basically what he also learned, because after trying to give it to everyone, he couldn't get rid of it, so he just kept it for himself and immediately started having these really terrible night terrors. Where he said, this is the excerpt. Every time I have the horrible dream, it goes something like this. I find myself walking with a friend, usually someone I know well and trust at this point. I find myself looking into their eyes, and it's then that I realize that there's something different, something evil looking back at me. At the point in my dream, the person I'm with changes into what I can only describe as a gruesome, demonic-looking hag. Ugh, I did not highlight that the right way. What can only be described as a gruesome, demonic-looking hag that I have never seen. This hag proceeds to then beat the living shit out of me. I have woken up numerous times to have bruises, marks, and scratches on my body. And I've been hit where I had been hit by the old woman during the previous night. Though I guess the hag's an old woman.
Isn't that what a hag is? Like an old lady?
I guess so. No one fucking says hag anymore. Last time I heard hag. The last time I heard hag was like the witch in Snow White.
Well, people say like, old hag. Like,
oh, yeah.
The old lady. The witch in Snow White. That's exactly
that's a hag
picture
in my mind. And he said, up until this point, he hadn't related the cabinet to the dreams. But in hindsight, he only started having those when the cabinet was in his room. And then his siblings spent the night one time over the holidays, and his sister stayed in the room that the cabinet was in and came downstairs the next day and was like, I had some really fucked up dreams. And described to a T what he went through. No. And then his brother said, yeah, when we had that cabinet, we had those dreams too. Or basically said, oh, we had those dreams too. When was that? Oh, yeah, it was around that time you gave us the cabinet.
Oh, my God.
So then he called his girlfriend and was like, hey, remember those night terrors you were telling me about? What were they actually about? And so she described them and said, was that around the time you told me to sell the cabinet? And she said, yeah. So
Jesus. That's way scarier to me for some reason than like, oh, I smell something weird.
Yeah.
Or like somehow like the sleeping when you're not in control of things is way creepier to me.
We'll talk about that later. But I had a night terror last week.
Yeah, you sound so excited about that for some reason.
I just really wanted to
Your face lit up.
I wanted to tell you about it last weekend, but you weren't here, so I'm just excited to tell you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay, anyway. So then he decided, fuck this, I'm not going to keep it in the house, I'll leave it outside in the garage. Well, the smoke alarm went off that night.
God.
So then, and he went downstairs, and he looked through the entire garage, could not see any smoke, there was no reason for there to be burning, but he walked into the garage and got this overwhelming cloud of cat urine again.
Ugh.
So he brought it back into the house because he was like, okay, I don't want another fucking smoke alarm to go off. So he left it in the hallway, and fell asleep on the couch. So he was right next to it, fell asleep, and woke up to breathing on his neck and the smell of jasmine, and then saw a giant shadow figure fly down the hall from where he was sleeping.
Nope.
So from there, I move on to my notebook.
What did I call it?
Oh, multimedia project?
Multimedia, yeah.
So from here, he wrote that eBay letter. Someone bought it. Because there's a whole group of people on eBay who like buying. I was going to say,
I'm sure someone paid good money for that too.
Researched it and found out. He also researched it on his own because he remembered. Kevin remembered the granddaughter saying that her grandma would always call it a Dybbuk box.
Oh, that's right.
And was like, "What the hell does that mean?" She's like, "I have no idea." So he went and researched it, and it's actually Hebrew for cling, comma. A malicious spirit that attaches to objects instead of crossing over. And the granddaughter didn't know what it meant.
What the fuck?
But when he looked it up, that's what it actually meant. And
How
he didn't.
Creepy.
And nothing happened until he started working on it and had to open up the doors.
The fucking doors, Kevin.
So, from there, he sent it off to a random person. And the last person to own it was a student in Missouri who says that the cabinet brought each of his roommates and him as well different health problems, including hair falling out in chunks.
Oh.
And they all went to the doctor and they were totally fine. Their hair was just literally falling out as they were like walking around. Light bulbs would break, bug infestations, odd smells such as cat urine.
Oh my God.
And horrible scratching sounds on the walls at night. From there, he said, fuck this, let's give it to like a museum director who can like research it better than we can. So that student gave it to a guy called Jason Haxton, who was the museum director of medicine, because they thought it might be like a medicine cabinet and there was some voodoo involved.
Wait, which university was this?
It was called Truman State University.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as Haxton, the museum director, took it from the student, he started experiencing health problems, including hives, head-to-toe welts, and coughing up blood.
Oh, that's fucked up.
He decided to put it in storage, and every night that it was in storage, the fire alarms went off. He brought it back home and saw shadows surrounding him every night. And he wanted to figure out what was going on with the box, so he tracked it all the way back to the eBay story and found Kevin through the internet and asked him to help him track the history of, like, can you go back to that granddaughter and see what was going on? Okay, so Kevin goes back to the estate and talks to the granddaughter again and gets more information and says that the grandmother got that box with her cousin Sophie, or not with her cousin Sophie, but a lot of weird stuff started happening with her cousin Sophie when they were younger. So he reached out to Sophie, who was still alive. I guess she wasn't in Poland at the right time. Ugh. This is what she said back to him. Between World War I and World War II, seances were very popular, and good old Sophie decided to use a Ouija board with Grandma.
God damn it, Sophie. They
believe that they only attracted evil, which came from the negative energy of the impending war.
Oh.
So they realized that she didn't really get into it, but she said some really dark shit started happening after they used the Ouija board. I don't know how old they were or anything. This is just like a short transcript of what came out. But so between the two wars, her and Grandma, who were cousins, played with the Ouija board. And a lot of dark things started coming out. And so they tried to get rid of it without having any experience or knowing what they're doing. Tried to like banish the spirit. And pissed it off. And the night that they did this happened to also be November 10th, 1938, which was, in my American accent, Kristallnacht. You read it. You're German.
Oh, Kristallnacht.
Yeah, that.
Night of Broken Glass, I think?
Yeah. Hey!
I remember.
Oh, you do speak German. It's not a hoax, y'all. Okay, so.
Surprise!
So that was the night where. Well, how do you know the story of it better than I do?
No.
Okay. It was basically like super layman's terms when right before the Nazis started coming in and taking everyone. It was that night where they were going through and like ransacking all of the Jewish businesses. I think it said like 10,000 Jewish businesses and homes were broken into that night.
Oh my God.
But so the same night that happened, earlier that night, they had tried to banish this spirit. Great. And so she started crying while talking to Kevin saying, I'm sorry. And he said, why? And she said, because she thinks she's solely responsible for the beginning of the Holocaust.
What?
She's decided that...
She's literally lived this long and she's just like, oh, this is my fault.
This girl also died at 103. So she spent literally 100 years
being like...
feeling like she's the reason for the Holocaust.
No, Sophie.
I know.
It is not your fault.
Sophie, girl, it's not your problem.
It's fucking Adolf's fault, not yours. Jesus Christ.
So, the second time they tried to banish this thing, because the first time worked so well with crystal knocked or whatever.
Why are they doing this?
I guess it was really dark stuff, but they got it trapped in the cabinet that they called the Dybbuk Box that they never opened since
they were like,
then,
it's in there.
which was like the 1930s, and it had never been opened since. So the last thing I'm going to say is Jason Haxton Kevin told Jason Haxton all this information. Kevin Haxton brought the box to a medium who felt evil on the box, touched it, and got a sharp stabbing pain in her ribs, hand, and head, and blood started dripping out of her head.
What?
And she said she thinks the pain that she experiences from the original owner. And Jason Haxton looked back and saw that it doesn't make sense at all, but it was just a weird coincidence that the student that Jason Haxton got this box from happened to go to Truman State University in Missouri, as did one of the first... in the first class of people who went to what would be called Truman State University, was one of the higher-ups in the Nazi Party who was involved in the eugenics.
Oh!
So he went to the university that would become Truman State University, and then the student
who inherited
happened to also get this box.
And that's like not...
I don't know. It's like a weird thing that probably doesn't do anything.
But it's a weird coincidence. It's like worth noting.
Anyway, Haxton found out through the medium that it was somehow involved in the Holocaust. So basically all he did was, after that, was he grabbed the box, he brought it to a bunch of rabbis and said, don't tell me what you do with it. And so rabbis, all they said was they wrapped it up in wood and gold to replicate the Ark of the Covenant, which contained the original 10 Commandments.
Right.
And then they hid it in a secret location.
Holy crap, that's creepy.
So there's not even an ending. That's just what's up.
Ew, that sounds like a real life Indiana Jones. Like they hid it in an Ark of the Covenant in a secret location, and it has demons inside.
You know, rabbis are just the Indiana Jones of 2003. They're
like the unappreciated Indiana Jones.
Anyway, I'm sorry for that long-winded story.
No, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
I cannot believe that. Well, and at first I was like, well, why wouldn't he just like leave it on the side of the road? But at the same time, it's like a beautiful historic piece of furniture. It came from the Holocaust from Europe.
Think in his eBay transcript, he also said, I'm afraid to burn it. Like a lot of people told me to burn this thing, but apparently that opens up like a gateway for more things to come.
I've read posts like that too, where people are like, should I burn it? And people are like, do not burn it, because that like fucks your shit up even more.
Just take a hose, put holy water in it, and just spray that thing.
Just order like a tank of holy water. Can you do that?
I don't know, but we probably need one with this podcast.
Honestly.
Anyway, the end.
That's fucked up.
There's your haunted wine.
See, at first I was like, I want a haunted wine cabinet. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore.
Well, good.
I don't want hives.
Do you want to tell me a murder story,
Yes.
though?
Mine's also...
Literally just emptied the wine bottle. I watched you turn that bottle entirely upside down into the glass.
I'm here. Okay. Mine is fucked up. Okay, so I actually got this request. It was either yesterday or the day before, and I had some other things I wanted to do, but I kind of looked into this, and I was like, no, I have to do this now. So this was a request from JC De Leon 1.
Okay.
And he even mentioned in the tweet, like, mention me if you do the story.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, because I didn't email it. And I was like, okay, this one time.
But we're not happy that you didn't email it.
No, we're not mad. We're just disappointed. But it's a great story, so we forgive you. Okay, so it's the story of Elisa Lam.
Okay.
Do you know the story?
No.
Oh, thank God. It's so fun. It's so
What
fucked
if right
up.
now I just totally was like, oh yeah, I've heard all about it.
I know. Well, that's kind of what I did to you with Robert the Doll. But that was still a great episode, so...
Great.
It still works. Okay. So this is the story of Elisa Lam. It is very dark.
Okay.
It's an unsolved mystery.
Why do you do this? You like pick the darkest things. I don't know how to recover with humor. Like, how am I supposed to make this funny? You know that's my job at this point. You tell the story. I've got to think of like things to like awkwardly sidestep.
I believe in you. I feel like you're better at this than you think.
Can you tell me about a dead girl, please?
Yeah. I have just a story for you.
Okay. Great. Great. I'm glad you know my type.
I'm glad you asked. I was prepared. Okay. So, Elisa Lam was the daughter of immigrants from Hong Kong who moved to Vancouver. Mm-hmm. She was a 21-year-old student at the University of British Columbia. And in 2013, she left home for a trip to Southern California, which she called her West Coast tour on her Tumblr. I actually went and read her Tumblr, which is still active, which is very disturbing. And her actual post said, planning for the West Coast tour. Sigh, turns out I won't be making as many stops as I'd like. Vancouver, San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Cruz, and San Francisco. I really want to stop by San Luis Obispo, but alas, we'll see. Suggestions and meetups still highly appreciated. Mm-hmm. This was a post before she went on her West Coast tour. And I do want to add that she had a Blogspot and a Tumblr, and she like transferred her Blogspot to her Tumblr. And I looked at her Tumblr, and it's pictures of like, I mean, it's basically any early 2000s, 20-something. There are photos of like pretty dresses, but there's also kind of like emo quotes and like Harry Potter reference, just very like much something that my fucking Tumblr would look like.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. The headline of her Tumblr was a Chuck Palahniuk quote that said, "You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life." And on that note, let me tell you what happened.
That's already eerie because she, by not wasting her life and going on a trip, she ended up fucking getting killed, I'm assuming.
Yes. Well.
So maybe Chuck doesn't know what he's talking about.
Or maybe he does. I just said that for effect. I don't. You're probably right. Okay. Oh, and there were like Parks and Rec jokes, which is creepy because I feel like a lot of the stories I do are like old timey ones.
But so current.
To see this girl like posting the same fucking photos I have on my Pinterest of like Leslie Knope, and I'm like, oh, it's really fucked up. So Elisa had bipolar disorder and depression. She was on Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquel, Effexor, which I asked Blaze all about them.
Good for you.
They're basically antidepressants and antipsychotics. So she went on her West Coast tour. After 2 days, she checked into the Cecil Hotel near Skid Row, which is 20 minutes from where we are sitting right now.
Oh, fuck.
As I continue to triangulate exactly where I live for our listeners. Because I want people to love me and not just them. Anyway.
Desperation at its finest.
She was initially assigned a room in the Cecil Hotel on the 5th floor, but her the room next to her complained about weird behavior or odd behavior. So they moved her to a different room. The weird thing about the Cecil Hotel is that it was already a fucked up hotel to begin with. So basically, remember the story about the Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short, who was cut into like a million pieces? Mm-hmm. That was the last place she was seen before she was mutilated.
So this isn't the first hotel for horrible shit to happen.
Exactly.
Oh, the first time for this hotel.
Right, exactly. And also, so that was like the most sensational, biggest story in LA, like the most sensational murder in LA. In 1964, Goldie Osgood, the quote, pigeon lady of Pershing Square, which, whatever that
Someone I'm going to turn into, probably.
Emily, the
goals.
The pigeon lady of Pasadena.
It just makes me think, don't tell people I live in Pasadena.
I just need everyone to know where we live, apparently. Also in 1964, Goldie Osgood, the pigeon lady of Pershing Square, was raped and murdered in her room at the Cecil.
Oh my God.
Another crime that went unsolved. Serial killers Jack
the Ripper,
Jack Unterweger, and Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, both stayed there during their killing sprees in the 80s.
Fuck.
While they were active. There have also been many suicides, one of which killed a pedestrian passing on the sidewalk. So someone jumped and killed a pedestrian while they were committing suicide. So this was just not
it became a murder-suicide.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like a manslaughter-suicide? Yeah, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But, so they tried to remarket themselves, and it's actually very sad because the hotel, like, really does aim to, like, help, because that's a really impoverished area. Like, Blaze worked at a not a hospital, but like a free clinic down there that like helped homeless people who couldn't afford medical care, and they offer like free medical care, and it's like a really impoverished area. And so they basically were trying to like offer really low income housing for people, and they still do actually. But so they tried to rebrand themselves after this, and like it didn't work, and people were like, "Oh, it's the home of murderers." And so anyway, so Elisa took the Amtrak down from Canada, went to San Diego Zoo first, posted photos on social media, like had a great time. So she called her parents every day while she was on her trip. On January 31st, 2013, so this is actually quite recent, the day she was scheduled to check out of the Cecil and leave for Santa Cruz, her family didn't hear from her. So they called the police because she had talked to them every day since, which if that happened to me, my parents wouldn't have called the police for like 3 weeks because they would have been like, whatever. Like, my parents are very off hands when
my
it
mom,
comes to
after
that.
a week, would have called the police.
Oh, yeah. My mom probably would have maybe after a week, but not the day of. But so they called the police literally the day of, and they were like, they flew down from California.
Jeez,
I'm sorry, from Canada.
I want to make fun of them for being helicopter parents, but they were actually probably right.
But they were right. Exactly. So hotel staff who saw her that day said she was alone. There was a bookstore nearby. And Katie Orphan, who was the manager, said she actually saw her and spoke with her and said that, quote, she was outgoing, very lively, very friendly. And she wanted to get gifts to take home to her family. And she was worried about, like, the amount of gifts and whether she could lug them with her in her luggage, whether they were too heavy while she traveled. So they searched the hotel as far as they legally could. They couldn't, like, go into every room because they didn't have a search warrant or anything like that. They had dogs go through the building, didn't find anything. And then this is where this story became extremely famous. The LAPD released a video of her in an elevator. That was the last time she had been seen by any sort of camera. You haven't seen it?
I know it's a girl in a red jacket or something.
Yeah.
But that's all I remember. She's like, she looks really nervous and terrified, and that's all I know.
Yeah, so I rewatched it because I had seen it too. Like, I vaguely knew of it. So basically what happens is Elisa walks into the elevator in a red hoodie. She punches several buttons on the elevator, then steps into the back and, like, kind of presses herself against the wall, and the doors don't close. So she steps up to the doors, leans out, peeks left then right really quickly, like spastically quickly, jumps back into the elevator, back into the corner, goes back to the doors, looks out, steps out and is kind of like out of, like in the hallway, out of the camera's view for a minute, walks back in, puts her hands on both sides of the door, then presses a bunch more buttons, walks back to the doors, puts her hands over her ears, and this is where it gets very weird. She walks into the hallway and starts just moving her hands like frantically around, and it's very like nobody really knows what she's doing. It looks like she's like either petting a dog or like gesturing wildly. Then she starts rubbing her forearms together. Then she like kind of bows forwards. It's a really spooky video if you watch the whole thing. And then she walks back to the wall, leans against it, and then just walks out of view, and that's the end of the video. And there's no one else in the video. It's just
in the
her.
halls. Were there like anyone?
I mean, you could see several feet in front of her. She was just kind of like moving around. So it's just a very unsettling. I think that's the best word. So the first theory is that maybe someone was after her. Maybe she felt threatened, and it looked like she was kind of hiding at first in the elevator. So one theory is like maybe she was feeling threatened. Another theory is that she was possessed, which is not the most popular theory, but you know, a theory. Just because the hotel is pretty fucked. Another theory was obviously drugs, as in like ecstasy, party drugs. A body language expert actually looked at the video and said the way she was behaving, it looked like she was on ecstasy or another party drug. And then this is like a really weird theory, but I looked into it and it's actually like kind of a prominent theory on the internet. That she was playing the elevator game. Have you heard of this?
No, what the fuck is that? Let's not play.
Literally never.
Okay, what is it?
It's like an urban legend from Korea. which is supposed to allow the player to enter another world.
Shut the fuck up.
So it's like a creepypasta. Like, people just post on the internet, and like it became
I mean, she was on Tumblr, right?
Exactly.
So...
And people say, like, maybe because she was so heavily like into internet culture and that kind of thing, and she had a lot of blogs, and
she probably had heard of it.
Yeah, like, it might have
how do you, like, you do like a dance ritual then?
No.
Because it sounds like she was kind of moving around in a certain way.
Well, I have the instructions for you.
Oh, shit.
Here we go. Let's play. Okay.
No.
Everybody get ready. Okay.
Everyone get in your elevators.
Well, the first step is you need a building that's at least 10 stories high. So if you live in that,
you're off to a great start.
We do not, so we can't play. Okay. Enter your chosen building. Get into the elevator on the first floor alone. Do not proceed if anyone else is in the elevator with you. Press the button for the fourth floor. When the elevator reaches the fourth floor, do not get out. Instead, remain in the elevator. Press the button for the second floor. Mm-hmm. When you get to the second floor, press the button for the sixth floor. Then press the button for the second floor. Then the 10th. Then the 5th. And when you reach the 5th floor, a young woman may enter the elevator.
Fuck that.
Do not look at her. Do not speak to her. She is not what she seems.
Sounds like all of a sudden you're telling a paranormal podcast.
I know. Well, that's when that Twitter guy was like, should Em do this or should Christine do this? And I was like, we'll fight over it, but I took it.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even give me a chance.
Once she enters the elevator, press the button for the first floor. If the elevator begins ascending to the 10th floor instead of descending to the first, you may proceed. If the elevator descends to the first floor, exit as soon as the doors open. Do not look back. Do not speak. If you reach the 10th floor, you may either choose to get off the elevator or to stay on it.
What the hell is this?
If you choose to get off, and if the woman who entered the elevator on the 5th floor asks you, where are you going? Do not answer her. Do not look at her. You will know whether you have arrived at the other world by one indication and one indication only. The only person present in it is you.
Fuck. What? No.
Isn't that creepy?
That's beyond.
It's so creepy. Okay.
That's crazy.
And it's all over like, I looked it up and there are just millions of like posts about this.
Ugh.
The return trip.
Oh. Huh?
If you choose to stay on the elevator at the 10th floor, press the button for the first floor. If it doesn't work, keep pressing it until it finally does. When the elevator reaches the first floor, exit as soon as the doors open. Do not look back. Do not speak. If you choose to exit the elevator at the 10th floor, you must use the same elevator to return as the one in which you arrived.
This is like algebra. I could not even keep up with this.
When you enter the elevator, press the buttons in the same order you did in steps 2 through 8 of venturing out. You should finish at the 5th floor. When you reach the 5th floor, press the button for the first floor. It is very complicated. Okay.
It's just a lot of numbers.
You must press... Okay, but if it starts going to the 10th floor, you have to start hitting any button because otherwise it's not good news, apparently.
Apparently. The Demogorgon shows up.
Literally. After you reach the first floor, check your surroundings carefully. If anything seems off, even the smallest detail, do not exit the elevator. If you detect something wrong, repeat step 2 until your surroundings look as they should. Once you're confident you have returned to your own world, you may safely exit the elevator.
Ooh.
I know. These are additional notes.
Okay.
Should you reach the other world, the floor onto which you will emerge will look almost identical to the one in your own world, save for 2 things. All the lights will be off, and the only thing you will be able to see from the windows is a red cross in the distance.
Shut the fuck up.
Who the fuck wrote this shit?
Satan?
Literally the devil. Thought this was a fun game. Some say that electronic devices, mobile phones, cameras, etc., do not work in the other world. Others say they do.
Oh, because so many people have done this.
Right, okay.
Did you, research this and see who's, said that it works?
It's very much like an urban legend thing, so people kind of play along with it.
It's like Bloody Mary?
Yeah, and people play along on the internet, I think, and are like, oh, I did this, and now I think I'm in another world. And it's like, okay, guy. And it's very much like a Reddit creepypasta, so people are like...
Maybe she was on ecstasy and thought she was playing the game, and because she was on ecstasy, thought that she was in another world. But she just kept running around in the same elevator.
And she was exiting and entering. Maybe.
It sounds like... Okay, when Christine and I started becoming, true friends, we went to this corn maze. Christine just spit her wine out everywhere. And I feel like she was in that same corn maze. You know what I mean? But in an elevator.
Who, Elisa was in the same
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, so the corn maze that Christine and I went in, we couldn't even possibly begin to finish.
No, we couldn't even begin it. Like,
we literally walked 10 feet in and turned the fuck around.
I can't, I had to throw my shoes away.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I had so much mud and I tried to get it off and they just
We went on the day right after like a downpour, and so it was like 3-inch deep mud, and we went in like both of us were in really shitty shoes to have gotten this in. And our feet kept getting stuck and we were like quickstanding in this corn maze. Can you imagine if we tried getting halfway through that corn maze and got stuck and then we didn't even know how to get out?
We
would be playing the elevator game. That's what I'm trying to say. Like we'd have to press 10 and 2 and 5 and 6 and 4.
Oh, totally. I'd rather be in another world than stuck in the middle of that fucking corn maze. Like, I'd rather be alone in another world.
Okay, anyway, that was my analogy.
I like it.
That's how I feel.
But it's fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, last note. If at any point during the ritual you faint, pass out, or otherwise lose consciousness, you will likely wake up in your own home. However, be sure to carefully examine your surroundings upon waking. The home to which you have been returned may not be the one you left when you first set out to attempt this ritual. Concerning the woman on the 5th floor, do not speak to her. Do not look at her.
Why is she involved? When does she come into play? Or is she just to freak you out?
If you do, she may decide to keep you for her own.
Shut up.
Anyway, so that's a fun game.
Oh my god.
It's like a party game if you have a birthday party.
It's like a party game if party for one.
Yeah, sleepover. Okay, so some people think that she was playing that game and that's why she was kind of jumping. They don't think like, oh, she went to another world. They think like, oh, maybe she was trying to play that game.
Right. But then magically never showed up again. So my Stranger Things opinion of it is that she ended up finding the right dimension or the wrong one.
Could be.
Couldn't come back. You know, if you're going to learn a game from Tumblr better teach you a way to contact Tumblr if you get stuck in a game created on Tumblr.
Like a customer service line?
Yeah, like if she could like write in on her blog and be like, guys, I tried it. I'm stuck. Help.
Well, you'll see where she ends up. It's not good.
Oh, so that wasn't the end.
Oh, no. That's just one very side theory. Okay. So one other thing that happened was that the video seemed to have been tampered with, the elevator video. It was slowed down. I watched like the version someone sped it up to the point where it was like normal seconds and it was a lot faster, which was odd. And they had covered up the timestamp and they had also cut out a minute of the footage, but they did it really discreetly, so you can't even like I couldn't even find where it was. And some people, say, oh, maybe it was like somebody was, because they released it to the public, so like maybe there was a reason, like there was someone who walked by, it wasn't, but nobody knows where that minute of footage went. But the most popular opinion of all is that she had a manic episode. She was bipolar and she was on several medications, and some symptoms of a manic episode include erratic hand gestures and movements.
Right.
And some people with bipolar disorder do become psychotic when they're either manic or depressed.
Or just off their meds or haven't taken them regularly.
Yeah, so that'll lead you to like either like a manic state or a depressed state. And a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but sometimes people become psychotic so they hear voices or they see things that aren't there. In a psychotic state, a lot of times they hold on to false beliefs such as like superhuman strength or that they are like godlike.
Or, I mean, it could even just be a manic state of like I have a couple friends, one of them just manically goes on huge shopping sprees, like just spends a lot of crazy money and just, it's just impulsive.
Right, it's like erratic behavior.
It's like, we'll worry about it later kind of thing.
And so a lot of people say like, people watch the video and try to explain her behavior, and it's some people are like, you can't if she's in a manic state, you can't explain her actions. You don't know what's going on in her head.
So they think it could have been her medication.
So
or she was off it, or
right. Like one of the biggest theories was that she had a manic episode. So the LAPD released this video footage, and they were like, anybody who knows anything, like, please help us. So the internet went crazy. Like, I think in China the video got like 3 million views, and people were commenting and trying to figure it out, and like all the theories I just went through, people were like arguing their theories online. And then soon after that, guests at the hotel began complaining to management about low water pressure in their rooms. Some claimed their water was colored black and had an unusual smell. There was this British couple I read in a CNN article who said that the water would come out black for a couple seconds and would sometimes just trickle out and had a funny, sweety, disgusting taste.
Why are you drinking it?
But just like shower and stuff. Like they would turn the shower on.
Yucko.
But they were like, well, we just thought like it was a shitty hotel, so we like didn't really report it for a few days, and then we were like, what's going on? On the morning of February 19th, an employee went to the roof to check the water tanks. They were 1,000-gallon water tanks, and for international listeners, that is 3,785 liters.
Okay. I thank you for being aware of them.
You're welcome. I'm very conscientious.
Okay.
And in one of the water tanks, he found Elisa's body floating face up, a foot below the water surface.
What?
There's this picture from the news of like these firefighters on the roof trying to access the water tank to like get her out. It's really...
How did someone even get her in there? You just throw her in? Like, is it like a little baby pool?
You'll see.
God damn it, Christine. Just tell me.
Well, I'm getting to it.
Say it faster.
People who came to the hotel after that were not allowed a refund that week. Like, I know. They had to sign...
Linda would be the first in line.
Oh. Yeah,
she'd be like, I don't think so.
People had to sign a waiver saying they'd been made aware of the health risks. The fire department required the hotel to provide bottled water.
Good.
But they still let people...
Shower?
Stay there, yeah, and use, like, the showers.
So wait, do we know what the black remains were? Was it her?
Well, she was in the water tank for several weeks, so that was...
It was like rotting flesh?
Oh, it was her body, yeah. Decomposing in the water tank. I'm just gonna vomit.
So what you're telling me... Wait, remind me of the taste of the black water again?
Oh, let me tell you.
About rotting fucking decaying flesh?
I can't do a British accent, but it was funny, sweetie, disgusting. Sweetie, he said. Like,
well, now we know what rotten flesh tastes like, guys.
In water.
Liquefied dead skin.
Yummy. Ew, dead skin. Somehow that's...
Why is dead skin? We have dead skin on us right now. We're alive. But decaying, rotting flesh does not mean anything to you?
It's a little cliche, you know?
Shut up.
Okay. So 10 days later, the coroner's office reported that they found her death to be an accidental drowning. But... the weird thing was that the autopsy report was not released until 4 months later in June, which is not normal, after being postponed several times. So they like wouldn't release it, and they kept delaying the release of the report. And then when the report was released, you could see that they checked accidental death. Then they changed it to undetermined. And you can look at it online. I looked at it. It's so creepy. Ugh. And then they crossed it out and changed it back to accidental. So it's very weird.
What?
I know. It's very weird. So they...
How do you accidentally fall into a fucking water tank on the roof of a hotel? So
they said she had been found naked in the tank with the clothes she had been wearing in the elevator floating in the water alongside her, coated with a, quote, sand-like particulate.
What the fuck?
They found no evidence to suggest that she had committed suicide. And toxicology tests said that some of her prescription meds were found in her system, the one she was like prescribed, but no recreational drugs were in her system, no alcohol or anything like that. So then the mystery is how she got into the tank, obviously. Right. So doors and stairs that access the roof are locked with an alarm system, but you can get to the roof through 3 fire escape ladders that are on the side of the building. Mm-hmm. And there was a Chinese tourist who came to the hotel and like literally videotaped, like you literally open the window, jump on the fire escape, and you can climb right up there. So it's not like unreasonable that she would
in a manic state
climb out a window and jump up to the roof. So supposedly an alarm would have been triggered if the doors were opened. However, a lot of people do say that like it's kind of a seedy hotel. Apparently, like the employees go up there for smoke breaks, and a lot of times prop the doors open.
Right.
They're not. People have gone and checked the doors, and they're not triggered to any alarm, or they're like not locked or anything like that. So who knows how real that is. And some people have an issue with like how would she climb into the water tank, but it's only 30 pounds, the lid, and it's on a hinge. And like, sure, she was like a young woman, but like 30 pounds is not that heavy.
Right.
And like,
if you really want it,
especially if you're in a manic state, like that's not unreasonable that 30 pounds, like my dog weighs 40 pounds, you know, it's not like unreasonable that you could lift that. And people say, well, how would it close from inside? But at the same time, like if you just open it enough to get in, you don't
and then you can't get yourself out.
Exactly. And so this is really sad. But some people are like, well, why doesn't she have her clothes on? And some people were like, well, she was like a really smart girl. Like maybe she was in there and she was like, oh,
taking
like,
the weight off.
Take my clothes off, like it'll be easier to like get to the surface.
Right.
And the water tank was like 3/4 the way full. So that's like,
she like she didn't have a floor to stand on.
Right.
To push
exactly. So like some people think
up.
she just took her like clothes off to like lessen the weight in the water, which is just so fucked. So
she's drowned, do you think?
That's, well, the way the autopsy report said it was an accidental drowning. So like whether that means she was in a manic state and jumped in and then like drowned, or, you know, they said, I don't know how they determine whether it's not suicide or...
I guess the clothes being off would show that she was trying to get out.
Maybe that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. So it's very... So, but there are some like still unsolved questions, like the report the autopsy report does not say what the results of the rape and fingernail kits were. And as far as I know, they never tested the rape kit, which would seem questionable, but at the same time, there are like thousands of rape kits that go untested. It's not like unreasonable that they wouldn't test a rape kit if they determined that her death was not, you know, related to that. But she also had like it's called subcutaneous pooling of blood in her like anal area, which
what does that mean?
Is consistent with like rape, but is also possible when your body like decomposes, that like that happens to you. So it's cool. Some people are like, oh, well, maybe she was raped.
Did you ask Blaze about that one too?
I have not. He'd probably be like, please stop talking to me. He'd probably leave me forever. But so that's another weird question where people are like, well, maybe if they had done the rape kit, but some people are like, that's normal if your body's decomposing in water.
It's gross.
I know.
That's a shame.
Horrible. So even the doctors who made the conclusion about her death being accidental, even like appear to be a little bit ambivalent. So like I told you, they had those check boxes, whether like her death was natural, suicide, whatever. So it was that weird thing of, like they checked it they checked accident on June 15th. 3 days later, they checked undetermined. And then 3 days before the report was released, they changed it. They crossed it out, changed it back to accidental, and then initialed it, which is just strange. And that goes with the whole 4-month period or 3-month period or whatever that they like didn't release the report. This is also creepy. Since her death, her Tumblr blog that I mentioned was updated. And
what?
So the theories on that are that either she had one of those, like Tumblr has an option where you can automatically publish your posts in advance, so you can sort of like Hootsuite,
okay,
where you can like schedule your posts when you're away. So either people think that, but also her phone was stolen, like right around her death. So people are either like it came from her phone, or like someone who took her phone, or it came from like automatic scheduled posts. So at this point, it's unsolved.
That's horrible.
I know, and it's very sad. And her family like tried to. A lot of people sued the hotel.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh my God.
Her family sued the hotel also, and the case was dismissed. But it's just very sad because, I mean, personally, I think it is a mental health.
Yeah,
thing.
That just sounds the most realistic quote.
And the toxicology reports said that like she had stopped taking certain medications at least several days before, and they were the antidepressants and the ones like she was on like Wellbutrin and some other like kind of uppers, which are supposed to like uplift your mood for depression. But if you're taking that on, if you're bipolar and you're taking like, uppers,
right,
it can send you in a manic state, which isn't just like a happy state. It's like a totally unreasonable, and you can go psychotic. And so it's just very sad. And I don't think it's a paranormal story, but
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
but that is a fucked up elevator game.
Yeah, the elevator game is creepy, right?
We had different thoughts. Yeah, no, the elevator game is just a nice bonus.
No, yeah, that part, well, I didn't even see that because that wasn't like anywhere. It like mentioned it and I was like, oh, whatever, some elevator game. And then I like started reading about it and I was like, oh my God.
Well, thank you for that horrible story. I get to go to bed too.
You're welcome.
You can thank me for my story another time, I guess.
Thank you for, listen.
Yeah.
I want to give you a moment to speak because last time you got all mad that I take the last word.
All right. Well, I guess I'll...
Thank you for your beautiful story.
You're welcome. Oh, it was so unexpected.
I love haunted wine cabinets.
Perfect. Well, don't expect more of them because that one was pretty fucking weird. But
I mean, I feel like that was like a one of a kind.
I feel like if you were to ever haunt anything, you would haunt a wine cabinet.
I would literally just haunt wine. Like I would just like get in a wine bath. Oh, I'd haunt one of those Japanese wine baths.
There you go.
Just float around.
And that's a full circle.
Like pinch people's butts.
Anyway.
Okay, we are so grateful for all of you and thank you for all your support.
Thank you for listening. Please find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Or email us. We have a listeners episode coming out May 1st. Please join in.
Boop, boop.
And we have our Patreon. Please donate if you think we're funny or you feel bad for us.
Either one. We'll take it. We'll take a pity donate.
And we have a website that you can spam people with.
Yeah. It's fun.
And that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. And if you have the moment, please subscribe on iTunes and leave us a rating or a review because that helps us a lot. And
that's why we drink.
And that's why we drink.
Bye.
Right. Goodbye, guys.